Okay, right, guys. This is where we left off from our previous lesson, right? This is what we had. Hopefully, you understand what all these tags or elements mean, right? Okay, now we're going to talk about what goes inside the body, right? The body of your page. This is the stuff that goes in here. So if I save this, go back to my browser. Remember, this is still the same file we started with from the first lesson, right? So if I saved now, there's nothing on the body. This white um, space here, that's where everything you put inside your body goes in, right? Or rather is displayed, right? So I'm going to show you now how we display things like text, right? Usually a website would have text, right? You'd have text like I don't know, a heading, a paragraph of some sort, right? So to display text, we don't just start typing in the body and say this is a message. We don't do things like this in HTML. Yes, this works. If I save and view it in the browser, this works, right? But we have HTML tags that we use to display text properly. We don't just type text. We don't just start typing text. We have HTML tags that we use to display text. Let's say, for instance, you wanted to display a heading for your page, right? You wanted a heading that says welcome to my website. For that, you would use the header tags, and with header tags we have h1, right? It also has a closing tag, just as we've been doing, opening, closing. Same thing here with your header tag, h1 opening, h1 closing tag. That's it. Your text for this header, let's say you wanted welcome to my website, right? This is the text you wanted to be shown whenever a user uh, whenever a user visits your website. This is the welcome message they're going to get. So let me save and show you what it looks like. You see now, it is a little bigger, right? For this we used the h1 tag, right? Which the h stands for heading. Now with your headings, we have 6 types of headings. h1, that's your biggest, and if we copy this a few more times, what I'll do is I'll come back here and click here, change this to h2, come back here, change this to h3, go back here, let's click there, this h4, right? So what is happening is h1, that's your biggest, h2 your second biggest, h3 your third biggest, and so on up to h6. So if I were to save this, go back to the browser, you'll see now that's your h1 there, that's your h2, 3 and 4, right? h6, the last one, being the smallest, right? So that's the difference there. You have these different types of headings. Obviously, a situation where you might use this is when you have the main header at the top of the page, the main heading, and then let's say you had like a website with blog posts. So for that, those will be your subheadings. You would use an h2 or an h3, right? So that's the difference there. So what I will do now is quickly talk about something called comments, right? A comment. Before I show you the paragraph, I'm going to show you what a comment is. So if I to write a comment, well, I'll show you the shortcut. It's control forward slash, right? Forward slash, right next to your period, full stop, right? So that's a comment. So uh, let's put here heading example, heading example, like that. And then what this means is, if I save here and go back to the browser, you see you don't see anything that says heading example there on top. What a comment is, this is for us as developers, right? As developers, this is just extra information for us as web developers to say, okay, right now I'm working on my heading in this example here. This is just for me to sort of like see, if I was looking at someone else's web page, another developer's code, right? I would see, okay, here the web developer is working on the heading, and then maybe down here an example, a paragraph, right, of a paragraph. So then I would know, when I come and read these comments, I would know, okay, this section is about paragraphs, right? And this section on top here is about headings. So what the browser does whenever it sees these sort of like symbols here at the beginning and at the end, you have to close it too, at the beginning here and at the end. What it does is, when it sees these symbols here, it simply ignores this. It ignores this line, as evident by what you see here. You don't see those comments here. Those are for us developers. So another example of when you might use a comment is here. I'm just going to highlight this up to here, or you can highlight the whole thing like that, and I'm going to comment it out because I don't need it here for now, right? I don't need this to be here for now. So that's what we also do as developers, right? For maybe you are testing your code to see where the bug is. You don't want to delete the entire code, right? You don't want to delete this entire portion of code and come back and write it back again. That would be wasteful, right? So what you do is you simply comment this entire thing, save your work, and go back to the browser, and the browser does what it does whenever it sees comments. It simply ignores them. As you can see here, we don't see those H1s, I mean those headings, we don't see them here anymore, right? This is because we commented them out. So that's when and how you use your comments, right? So now, since we are talking about text, displaying text on your browser, the next example would be how do I now display a paragraph, right? So for a paragraph, simple, you use the p tag, right? You use the p tag like so, p, like that. Just like your h1, it also has a closing tag, right? The difference between the opening and the closing is just this forward slash here. That's the difference, right? This is your closing, this is your opening tag, right? Both of them make an element. This would be an element now, an HTML element, right? Again, same with your h1, your paragraph, you put your text between the opening and the closing tag. So as developers, there's something called lorem ipsum, which is dummy text. For instance, let's say I wanted a paragraph, but I can't think of a long enough paragraph for now. You know, as you know, as developers, we are sometimes lazy. So we have this dummy text called lorem ipsum. Now with VS Code, again, guys, it's easy to get this lorem ipsum. You just type between the tags. Again, as you can see, it is already suggesting lorem ipsum, right? So if I continue writing lorem like that and hit tab, you see now my paragraph is filled with dummy text. This is just dummy text. I think it's in Latin or something. This is not English. It's in Latin or something. So now, just like that, I have an example paragraph, right? If I save and go back to my browser, you see, yeah, it's Latin. Even Google is recognizing that this is Latin there, right? So there's your paragraph there. There's your heading there, right? So those are two types of display text on your browser, right? On your website. That's how you display text on your websites. Hopefully you understand. If there's anything that's not clear, go back and watch the videos, and I'll catch you on the next one.